Hey YouTubers, today we're going to talk about 5 things to help you get inspired, especially in the morning time when you're not feeling too creative or motivated to do anything. You know, I always like to start my day off with a nice little cup of coffee. Alright, so let's just get right into this. 5 things to help you get inspired creatively in your life. You can apply these to many different things in your life, but predominantly I'm going to be talking about creative endeavors such as art, painting, writing. Me personally, I'm a glass blower. That's what I love to do right now. Used to do metal work, but these days I'm more into the glass blowing, but we'll talk about that later. So let's start. Number 5, live a life that inspires you. Surround yourself with books and paintings, sculptures, things that you can walk around your house, especially in the morning time. And you know, you look at it and you think to yourself, oh man, that is a really beautiful piece of artwork, and it just inspires me to do something. It pulls something out of me. Anything that provokes you, you know, provokes feeling inside of you. Reading good books, if you're a writer, you know, you should love reading books. That's another thing. If you're really into something, surround yourself with objects, or you know, paint. If you're a painter, have paintings on your wall. If you're a writer, have a bookshelf full of books. You know, it's really not that difficult. You know, surround yourself with the things that you love. If you love it, I mean, if you love doing it, you should totally geek out about seeing it. You know, like if I were to ever, you know, see one of my idols, you know, I would totally fanboy out on them. And you know, just I love this shit, you know. It's what drives my passion in life. So I think that's pretty good for right now. Sculptures, you know, I'm a metal artist, so I love looking at sculptures. Little reminders around the house to tell you, hey, you should get this going. You've got this project going on. Why don't you get started on it? I have a telescope, you know, just hanging out in my closet just because I'm a curious fella. So always be curious, always be hungry for your art, and the rest will always follow. So number 4, listen to your favorite podcast. This kind of goes hand in hand with the surrounding yourself with physical objects, but listen to podcasts, read books. I oftentimes find myself looking up YouTube videos. I mean, you just have infinite amounts of information on YouTube and podcasts that you just sit there for 30 minutes and you're listening to this podcast, and then you're like, God, I just can't sit still. I've got to go out and do this thing. You know, and it was, you know, don't be afraid to let it inspire you, because, you know, I struggled with this for a really long time, especially as a musician. I'd come up with a composition and I'd bring it to my bandmates, you know, and I'd kind of think to myself, well, this riff that I'm writing kind of sounds like, I don't know, for example, Another One Bites the Dust by Queen or something like that. We'll just use that as an example. But I would be afraid to subconsciously be presenting something that I had taken in maybe years ago. Didn't realize that I'm, you know, regurgitating this tune in my own manner. And that used to really bother me. I didn't want to copy anyone. I didn't want to be labeled as a fraud, or, you know, somebody that's just out there stealing material and all of that. But, you know, recently I've been reading a lot of books about philosophy and artists, and especially one of my favorite artists, Pablo Picasso, once said, good artists, what did he say? Good artists borrow, great artists steal. And you know, maybe he meant something different with that, but from what I took from it was, don't be afraid to let the things that have inspired you your entire life, don't be afraid to let them come back out, you know, in your own manner, of course. You know, change it up, do your own thing. Don't just, you know, regurgitate it note for note or word for word, or, you know, stroke for stroke on the painting. Bring your own element to it, you know, but it's always good to kind of start somewhere, you know. Start with a song, start with a painting, and then maybe just tell yourself, okay, well, this is a practice technique. I'll just paint this painting, see how well I do, and move on. And halfway through it, you'll probably end up coming out with your own stuff, your own colors, your own. Well, let me think. I kind of like it this way, you know. Let me throw a little orb here, or like a little bubble or something. So, you know, listen to stuff, read stuff, and don't be afraid to let it inspire you directly. There's nothing wrong with, you know, taking something and putting it back out there in your own way, you know. It's kind of like an ode to the people that have inspired you, and what better way to flatter than to take something and recreate it. So, number 3, I always like to get the blood flowing. Physical activity, something to get blood up into that cerebral cortex, that prefrontal lobe, something that will, you know, get you excited. You know, my main thing with art, and especially glass blowing, is when I'm low on energy, of course I'm not motivated. So I've had to learn certain rhythms and cycles of the way my body reacts to be able to work around that, and, you know, find those little times to be able to do stuff. Right now for me, I get up in the morning, I take my daughter to school, come home, drink a cup of coffee, and I'm in that zone. Like, I'm ready to go. I've got energy, I've got creative juices flowing in my head. And also, late at night, a lot of my friends would agree that some of their best ideas come late at night. So what I mean by get the blood flowing is literally just physical activity. Some people like to walk. I love to play fetch with my dog. I do a little bit of weightlifting every once in a while, and that's her bumping the camera. Yeah, this is Miss Chewy right here. Come here, come here, up top, up top. Yes, this is my little girl right here, and I like to take her for walks and stuff. Okay, go on, yeah. You can chill there. Lifting weights, you know, just something to get you awake, get you alive. So we'll wrap this video up pretty quick because she's getting antsy to go for a run. Number 2 is something that a mentor of mine likes to say, chess-like thinking. Like you're playing a game of chess. Sit down and just contemplate to yourself for a little while. You know, rub your beard, think about things deeply. Think about your projects. You know, I have a little list of projects that I need to get done, and I'll sit there and look at that list, and I'll try and figure out, okay, what's the most important one? Which is the one that would be most fun to do, you know? And I just try to bring a rational outlook on my creative endeavors, because oftentimes I'm very scatterbrained, and it's tough to keep focused and get your stuff done if you don't sit down and contemplate it for a while. So, you know, sit down, think about this project that you want to do. If you don't have any projects that you're currently doing, then just jump into watching the YouTube video, watch a couple videos, throw on a podcast or whatever, and just sit there and think to yourself, you know, about the project that you're trying to get going, or finding a project to get going. So, the number one thing that gets me inspired to especially complete my creative endeavors is just get out there. Just get out there, do it, you know. Oftentimes I won't be feeling it too much when I first get into the shop and I get in there and I'm ready to do some glass blowing. I'm not too sure what to start with, so oftentimes I'll just start doing, like, I'll start prepping up a couple of rods of color, or I'll get my tanks turned on and I'll just turn the flame on and just stare at the flame for a couple of seconds and just be like, okay, so what do I want to do now? You know, Woody Allen, I'm sure you've heard this one. Woody Allen says 80% of success is just showing up. Just get your fucking ass out there and do it. You know what I mean? No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to sit there and inspire you unless you're looking up videos like this on YouTube. No one's going to do it for you but you yourself. So get out there, make it happen, and have a great day.